Hey, what's up everybody? Haven't made a video in a while, but I'm back here with the Firebird. Had a couple issues. I had a driving issue where I broke down and had to get a tow truck. It's kind of regarding the American Auto Wire setup. I mean, I don't know if they did anything wrong or if I just didn't do a good crimp job, but down by the fusible link they have this connector, and this is with their old kit. I mean, I'm talking circa 2013. You had a connector, you had a fusible link coming from the starter solenoid, and you went to this connector up into a big 10 gauge, 8 gauge wire that supplied all the power to the fuse box. Well, I had this connector overheat about after I got my vintage air in. You can see the vintage air compressor. I made my own lines, ran them up through the fender well there. There's a bulkhead connector there. But anyway, back to the wiring issue. So it was the main feed wire that came down from the battery starter solenoid, runs up over here. That's alternator. This is main feed right back here. And as you can see, I put in a mega fuse in line, and I still have a fusible link for the alternator right here. I haven't changed that over yet, but I'm not having any problems with it, so I think I'm just gonna hold off for now. But I just wanted to show you this mega fuse. This is kind of what they use on OEMs now. It's got a big 175 amp fuse, so I put some thicker wire on there, crimped and soldered my connectors real good, and that'll supply the whole fuse box. Which that wire runs down and reconnects in there to the fuse box. But other than that, the car's been running great. I got about 10,000 miles on it since I did the LS conversion. Motor's kind of dirty. It's all stock. So far I got it to run a 13.2 at 106 miles an hour. That's my best run, and it's pretty consistent. The Dakota digital gauges tell me my 0 to 60. Recently put these yellow headlights on just to make it look a little different. But the vintage air is working pretty good. Could be a little colder. I think I talked to Vintage Air, and my low side is a bit high. I'm upwards of 50 pounds, and according to Vintage Air, it might be a little overfilled. I also had to replace the down here. It's my heater control valve for the Vintage Air setup. I had that freeze up on me, and it just froze open. So my heater worked for like the longest time, and I had no idea, because I didn't have the air conditioning in, that it wasn't working. But as soon as I put the air conditioning in, of course it's not closing when I double checked it. So I had to order a new one of those. It was like 60 or 70 bucks, but it's not bad. And that's a new style that they have. So it's just kind of funny after you get all this aftermarket stuff on these cars. After a while, the aftermarket stuff starts to have some problems. You gotta get that replaced, just like any other car, I guess. So that's fine. I also redid my battery positive lead. I'm gonna clean up these wires in a little bit. I'll cut away, and you'll see these all done. I just gotta put them back, wire them back up, hook these to the starter solenoid. That's starter. The computer wire is already hooked up down there for the ECM. My computer is I don't know, in case you didn't see my other video, my computer's down in there. Pretty much have to take the fender off to get to the computer, but I am able to stick my hands in there and pull the wires off if I need to. So it's fine, whatever. The bottom of the car. Again, I had the MagnaFlow. It's been flawless. No leaks or anything. And I did put in a new ground cable right there from the block to the subframe. I gotta tighten that down. This car has the Hotchkiss springs on it. They've been pretty cool. Front and back. It's been up on blocks for about a month now. So I figure I'm gonna clean the bottom and fix a few things while I got it up. That's about it for now. Another thing I was gonna show you guys was I used to have my relays up here for the headlights and fans, and I just had like this, just a kind of cheapy little, I had all the fuses in a row right here, and since then I ordered this box right here to kind of clean it up a little bit, which is pretty cool. So now now all the fuses are run through there. It's for the fans and the high and low beams. So I'm still working on getting the wiring cleaned up back there for the Maxi Fuse. And coincidentally, that's the way American Auto Wire is doing it now. If you look in their new instructions and compare them to their 2013 instructions, they have Maxi Fuses for the alternator and the main fuse box instead of the old school fusible links. And so I'm gonna have that one Maxi Fuse on here, and then I have my alternator wires here, and then they run along here back. And I don't know, somewhere down the line I may add them. They have some inline Maxi Fuses that are a little bit smaller. I could maybe hide it down under here potentially, as long as it doesn't wiggle around too much. But that one will be secure after I zip tie it to the back of the motor, and then I won't have to worry about that. But I'm just lucky it didn't catch on fire. I mean, right here it was hot enough to melt this loom. Luckily it completely severed, and then the car came rolling to a stop about a mile from my house. It was just on a really cold night, and I had to wait for a tow truck. It took like a couple hours for a tow truck to come out, but everything worked out, I guess. The only other issues I had with the car, wiring again. I made it so that when you turn on my low beams, all 4 headlights came on, and that's when I used to have a white headlight there. And that was too much for the single supply wire for the headlights, because according to the Vintage Air, they got 1 supply wire for the headlights. We'll see if the headlights are on here. No, but so I overheated some of my connectors, and these weren't soldered, so I went back through and resoldered the new connections that are underneath that fuse panel. So those are all soldered, and then I switched back to just low beams are going to be the 2 outside headlights, instead of running the low beams on the middle headlights, because these lights have low beams and high beams built into them. It's just the wire that supplies. It's just the way the harness is. There's 1 headlight wire for low beams coming up here, and 1 headlight wire for the high beams, and then we wired 1, and then it's daisy chained kind of around. So it was just too much voltage for the single low beam. It was just drawing too much for that little wire, and I didn't want to redo the entire harness, you know. So I just went back to 2 headlights. No big deal. It worked fine anyway. I was just trying to be different and kind of stupid, I guess. All right. Well, that's about it. Just letting you know, if you have the Vintage Air system, they're switching to Maxi Fuses. I didn't know, and I would have liked to have known. and they're getting rid of the fusible link. So it's really the purpose of the video. Alright, take care. What's up, everybody? It's the next day from my last video when I was talking to you, but yeah, we're back in business. Check it out. Bam, everything lights up and comes on, and the Maxi Fuse is behind the intake manifold. I got thicker gauge wire supplying the fuse box, and can't even tell it was ever messed with. But I also got a new fatty battery cable going from my bulkhead connector to my starter solenoid, and everything's got the heat resistant wrap on it. So back in business. I still got the car up on jack stands because I want to clean. I want to go through here and clean it. It's been about 10,000 miles, and I miss the way my powder coated suspension and subframe used to look. So I'm gonna spend some time cleaning it. And that's just a little update. I think the next project is gonna be replace the window regulators. This window is just, I don't know, it's a little too floppy for my liking. And the blower fan switch, since I got the vintage air, I only have high speed and low speed. I don't have any medium speed, and there's supposed to be 3 speeds. And I think it's because of my blower switch is gone out. And I also kind of want to get a new steering wheel. I want to put the I'm kind of in between putting the stock steering wheel back on, because I really like the stock steering wheel, or putting on a aftermarket suede steering wheel that's a little bit bigger. This one's just real small, and I would like one that's like a couple inches bigger, like a 15-inch or something. But the stock steering wheel has some cracks that I have since sealed, but it still needs a little more work, and it needs to be painted. But that's about it for now. Alright, take care, YouTube.